Let's take a look at this problem. Given the following data, find the least squares regression line by hand. So let me write down the problem. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4. And for my y values, I got 7, 12, 15, and 16. Now let's look at our formula for the least squares regression. It's y hat is equal to b1x plus b naught. Now b1 is equal to r, so we need to find r, times s sub y over s sub x. So we need to find the standard deviation of the y's and standard deviation of the x's. B naught is equal to y bar minus b1 x bar. b1 is from here, of course. So we also need x bar and y bar. Okay, well let's start finding these items. So for this this one here, let's first look at the x values. Excuse me. I got 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll try that again. Okay. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4. To find the mean, I'm going to add those together. So the sum of the x's, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then x bar is going to equal to the sum of the x's divided by n. So I'm going to have 10 divided by 4, which I believe is 2.5, but let's see. So 10 divided by 4, 2.5. Well, I need to find x minus x bar. So I'm going to have 1 minus 2.5. I'll have 2 minus 2.5. I'll have 3 minus 2.5. And I'll have 4 minus 2.5. That's negative 1.5. This one's negative 0.5. This one's 1.5. This one's, that's not 1.5. That one's 0.5. This one's 1.5. So then I need x minus x bar squared. So I'll take each one of these values and square them. Negative 1.5 squared is 2.25. Negative 0.5 squared is equal to 0.25. 0.5 squared is equal to 0.25. And 1.5 squared is equal to 2.25. Double check that. 2.25. Okay. So then we want to add these together. So the sum of the x minus x bar squared looks like it'd be 5. Now, one thing we'll need to store off is this right here. X bar is equal to 2.5. And while I'm saying that, let me go ahead and write down a piece of paper so I don't forget it. X bar is equal to 2.5. Now we need to find s sub x, our standard deviation of our x values, which is going to equal the square root of the sum of x minus x bar squared divided by n minus 1. So this is going to be 5 divided by, we have 4 numbers, so 4 minus 1. So that's going to give us square root of 5/3. So I'm going to do the second x squared and 5 divided by 3. And that gives us that value. So 1.2909933 3 4s, and a 9. Now, I'm not going to keep track of this and use it in all my calculations. I want to store this into a variable. Now, in the previous section of homework, I stored this in a variable called x, and might as well do that again. So let me write that down. S sub x is going to be stored in x. What I mean by that is at this point I press my store button, and then I want to choose alpha x. So alpha store to get the x, and then press enter. Okay, so now we have x bar and we have s sub x. And again, what I'm noting is where I stored it at. That's where I stored s sub x. Well, now we need to find our y values. So I'm going to have 7, 12, 15, 16. And we need to find our mean. So the sum of the y values is 31, 41, 43, 50. Y bar is going to equal the sum of the y values divided by n. So we're going to have 50 divided by 4. I think that was 12 point something before, but let's see. 50 divided by 4, 12.5. So we just found y bar. I'm going to write down a piece of paper because I'll need it later. Y bar is equal to 12.5. Well, we need to find our standard deviation. So I need y minus y bar. So I'll have 7 minus 12.5. I'll have 12 minus 12.5. I'll have 15 minus 12.5. And I'll have 16 minus 12.5. That gives us negative 5.5. Not very good at decimals. 7 minus 12.5. Negative 5.5. 12 minus 12.5 is negative 0.5. 15 minus 12.5 is 2.5. 16 minus 12.5 is 3.5. Well, now we're going to take our y minus y bar and we're going to square it. So I got negative 5.5 squared. I got negative 0.5 squared. I got 2.5 squared. And I got 3.5 squared. Now, I don't need to worry about signs because when you square anything, it's positive. So 5.5 squared is going to give us 30.25. 0.5 squared, I think, is 0.25. 0.25. 2.5 squared. 2.5 squared should be like 6.25, I think. 6.25. And 3.5 squared gives us 12.25. Okay, so the sum of the y minus y bar squared, was that up to 1? 6, 7, 8, 9, 59? 30.25 plus 0.25 plus 6.25 plus 12.25 49. Let me double check that again. 42, 48, 49. Okay, 49. So now we need to find s sub y was going to equal to the square root of the sum of the y minus y bar squared divided by n minus 1. So we'll have the square root of 49, and we got four numbers here. So I got 4 minus 1, so square root of 49 over 3. So our s sub y is going to equal to square root 49 divided by 3, 4.04145 1884. Now, kind of the cardinal rule on this is you never round in the middle of the problem. You only round at the end. So I'm going to store this in a variable called y. Go ahead and write that down. S sub y is going to be in y. So over here, I'm going to press my store button. Now I do alpha y. Where's y? Alpha 1. And then press enter. Okay, so now we have x bar, y bar, s sub x, and s sub y. We need r. Now for our, because we got this, and this, the last piece we need is r, and then we're ready to plug them into our formulas. Let me get to that formula. Now there's this formula, which is a little bit harder, and then there's this one that's a little bit easier, although it looks harder. Since the in the previous section I used the other formula, let me go ahead and show this one. So we're going to write down our x values. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we'll write down our y values, which are 7, 12, 15, and 16. Now we need to sum the x's and sum the y's. That's easy. Sum of the x's, 7, 9, 10. Sum of the y's, 19, 24, 34, 40, 50. 31, 41, 43, 47, 50. Sorry, those are so close to each other. We also need x squared and we need y squared. Well, x squared, I'll square each one of these x values. 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 4, 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16. We also need our y value squared. So we got 7 squared, which is 49. We got 12 squared, which I think is 144. 15 squared, which is 255, maybe. 16 squared, 256. I don't think 255 is right. I don't think I need to check 7 squared, though. We check 12 squared. 144, 15 squared. 225. So 225. And 16 squared. 256. Okay, now we need to add these together. Because from our formula, we need the sum of the x squared and the sum of the y squared. So this right here, and I apologize for how scrunched together this is. Add this together. 16 plus 4 is 20, 29, 30. And the sum of the y squared is 49 plus 144 plus 225 plus 256, and press enter, and we get 674. Now last thing from our formula is x times y. So we're going to have, leave a little bit of room here, x times y. 1 times 7 is 7. 2 times 12 is 24. 3 times 15 is 45. 4 times 16 is 64. Now this implies right here that we're going to add those together. So the sum of x times y is 11, 16, 20. Carry the 2, 8, 10, 14, 140. 64, 104, 109, 116, 120, 140. Okay. Well, now we're ready to plug into our formula. I've lost my piece of paper with all my notes. So we got R is equal to the sum of x times y minus the sum of x times the sum of y divided by n over the square root of the sum of the x squareds minus the sum of the x squared divided by n, then times the square root of the sum of the y squareds minus the sum of the y's. Well, that wasn't very good. The sum of the y squared divided by n. Okay. Well, sum of xy, where's that at? 140 minus the sum of x, which is 10, times the sum of x, or sum of y, which is 50, divided by n, which is 4 data points, over the square root of the sum of the x squared, which was 30, minus the square root of x, which is 10 squared, divided by n, which is 4, times the square root of sum of y squared, which is 674, minus sum of y, which is 50, squared, divided by n, which is still 4. Okay. Now continue it down here. So now we got 140 minus 10 times 50 is 500 divided by 4 over the square root of 30 minus 10 squared is 100 divided by 4 is 25. And then square root of 674 minus 50 squared, which is 2500 over 4. Which gives us 140 minus 500 divided by 4. I should be able to do that in my head. 500 divided by 4, 125. And 30 minus 25 is 5, so that's square root of 5. And 674, go ahead and let the calculator do this, minus 2500 divided by 4. Gives us 49. Now, this would give us 140 minus 25 is 15 over square root of 49 is 7, so that's 7 square root of 5. When you plug this in the calculator, you want to make sure you put parentheses around the bottom part, because you got more than just a single number down there. So I got 15 divided by, and beginning parentheses, and here's the moment of truth. See if I get the correct answer. .9583. Oh, good. Now this is .9583. 9583148475. Now this is R. Remember, that's what we're finding right there. So I'm going to store this in R. So over my calculator, I'll press store, and then I'll do alpha R wherever that's at. Where's R? PQ R, and then press enter. Okay, so now we have R. So now we have all the different pieces. I don't hardly have room to do the rest of it, but let me clear this off now. The reason why I said I hope it's a correct answer is because this is the one I worked in the previous homework. So I knew what the R should be. Okay, so that's probably enough space there. Remember, our X bar was 2.5. Our Y bar was 12.5. S sub X we stored in the variable X on our calculator. S sub Y we stored in the storage variable Y on our calculator. And R we stored in R on our calculator. So now B sub 1 is going to equal to R times S sub Y over S sub X. If you remember where we stored these at, R we stored in R, times S sub Y, which we stored in Y, over S sub X, which we stored in X. So let's go to our calculator, and I'm going to do alpha R, where's R, minus, and then Y over X. So I'll do alpha Y divided by alpha X and press enter. So I got negative 2.17218.0321, and I'm going to store this in I don't know, B, I guess, just so I don't have to enter it again. So I'll press my store button, and I'll do alpha B wherever B is at, there it is, and then press enter. So then on our second piece, it says B naught is equal to Y bar minus B sub 1 X bar. Well, Y bar we said was 12.5 minus B1, which we just stored into B. Then times X bar, which we said was 2.5. So let's see what that gives us. So I got 12.5 minus B, which was alpha apps, times 2.5, and press enter. Then we got 17.9304.508. So our answer is this right up here. Y hat is equal to B1X plus B naught. So Y hat, and I'll take it, I don't know, 3 decimal places, I guess. B1, which is negative 2.172X plus B naught, which is 17.930 or 93. Well, let's do this on the calculator now and see if we got that correct. You can always use your calculator to check your answer. So I'm going to go to Stat, I'm going to Edit, and we're going to be putting in our numbers. So I need to clear my lists. Then I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 12, 15, 16. Then I'll exit out. Then I'll do stat, right arrow to calc, and I'll choose number 4, and press enter. Ah, that's not good. A is 3 and B is 3x plus 5. Okay. R times. Well, I know my R is correct, so let me go back and double check that. S sub y. Me doing alpha y. Oops. Okay, now it's got me pondering. 4.04145184. Okay. And then S sub x, alpha x, 1.29. Well, let's see if I did get the standard deviation right. So if I do stat, right arrow calc, 1 bar stats, and then do second, not second, alpha, no, second one. 1.29. Okay, that's right. Now let's do 1 bar stats again. Stat, go to 1 bar stats, and then I'll do second 2 for L2. 4.04. Okay, that's looking right. So if I got those right, I got those stored off correctly. Let's make sure I stored off R correctly. Except for I might have just messed it up when I just did that. But let's see. I'll do alpha. No, I wouldn't have messed it up on that. Alpha R. 0.9583. Yeah, that's perfect. So get down to here. My formula for B1. Double check my formula. B1 is equal to R times S sub y over S sub x. So then I got R. So I do alpha R times S sub y, which I stored in y, divided by alpha x 3. What in the world did I do the first time? That's interesting. I must have typed something in wrong. Interesting. So that's 3. Okay, so now we'll come down to here, and I could store that in B. I suppose it's so easy I don't need to store it in B, but let me do it just to satisfy my own curiosity. So I do store, and then I'll do alpha B, then I store that off. So for this next one, I'm going to plug in these values. So I got 12.5 minus B, which is alpha apps, times 2.5 gives us 5. Sure enough. I don't know. I have no clue what I did the first time. I apologize for that. I'm assuming I typed something in wrong. Okay, so B1 is 3, so I got 3x, and B0 is 5. So our answer is y hat is equal to 3x plus 5 when doing it by hand, which matches what we got on the calculator.